3 football is here. It's time to rank a lot of things. We're going to do a quarterback tier list for week 3, a tight end tier list for week 3, and of course, defense special team tier list as well, all in this video. Go check out the wide receiver and running back tier list already out. Make sure you are capitalizing on the waiver wire. We already have videos on that. Ton of good names this week to be considering. Where's Jake Browning? Where's Carson Wentz? A lot of news. We have Browning versus Wentz week 3. Who would have thought that? Now, you probably could have made $1 million, right? So we have lots to talk about this week. Fields is a big-time faller. Burrow is now gonzo for 3 months. A lot to break down. Smash like, subscribe button. Please help us out as a small channel. Josh Allen, top of S tier? I don't think so. Let's go to Flock Fantasy, free website, check it out for sure. Take a look at what Josh Allen did in week 2. Now, granted, Josh Allen's nose was popped back into place after being gone. It's a short week. They take on the Miami Dolphins. Last year versus the Dolphins, first time they faced them, not good at all. Second time they faced them, bit of a floor game, right? In terms of rushing, didn't really have any rush attempts at all. Either time they faced each other, he only had 2 rush attempts per game. I expect him to bounce back. I think he'll have a solid day. I wouldn't expect a super crazy performance here. I think this is one of those games where they can rely on James Cook. They did the same thing versus the Jets. The Jets, what's the difference? All right, the Ravens. The Ravens are a good team. Josh Allen had to try, puts up 40. The Jets, terrible team. James Cook carried 140 rushing yards, 12 fantasy points for Josh Allen. I think we could see something similar here versus Miami. I'm actually going to bump Josh Allen down a spot, and Lamar Jackson's going to have to raise. Lamar Jackson, this is one of those games where he's going to have to try hard. Takes on the Detroit Lions. He's averaging 27 points per game. Lamar is firmly as an S-tier quarterback. Josh Allen is also going to stay in S tier. Just keep in mind, I don't know what kind of seal we're going to have. The Bills are going to be ahead by $1 million. Jalen Hurts and Jayden Daniels, A tier. I mean, do they deserve to be in A tier this week? I don't know. Look at the game log. Like, Jalen Hurts is going to have the potential for rushing touchdowns. He did have the rushing touchdown in week 2, which salvaged his day. He was trash. 100 passing yards, no passing touchdowns. No passing touchdowns on the season. And he's 250 passing yards through 2 games. Not good. Rushing-wise, he also didn't scramble in week 2. He wasn't forced to. Now, versus the Rams last year, he didn't have a very good game. 15 points. 15 of, he had 22 attempts, 179 yards, 1 passing touchdown. On the ground, wasn't crazy. Actually, didn't have a rushing touchdown. I don't know if Hurts, he should be in your lineup. He's somebody you have to start. This feels like S tier, A-, and then B. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like there's a big gap from S to A. Maybe this should just be called, what we're going to do? We're going to have this as A- this week. Why is it A- and we're including Jayden Daniels? Well, Jayden Daniels, he's been playing like a decent quarterback, 20 points per game over the first 2 weeks. Knee sprain. Another quarterback banged up. Joe Burrow was also someone in A tier. Now you got Hurts sucks. They don't have to pass. Daniels is banged up with a knee sprain. And then you have Joe Burrow, who's gonzo. Pat Mahomes might be somebody I boost up to A tier in the near-term future. People are saying, oh, it's temporary. Take a look. QB6, QB7 finishes. And what I like to see is the rushing usage. Rushing touchdown, back-to-back weeks. Averaging 60 rushing yards, back-to-back weeks. Could care less about the receivers. Had a nice deep touchdown which salvaged his day. I think Mahomes, I'm going to do it this week. I'm going to put Mahomes over Jalen Hurts. They play the Giants. It's a good matchup. I'm going to put Mahomes over. Now, let's see the Commanders matchup. They take on the Raiders. I can't do that just yet. I have Mahomes as QB4 coming into this week. I actually have him above Jalen Hurts. Fool me once, fool me twice. The Eagles, they ain't trying. They might have to try versus the Rams. Wouldn't be surprised if Hurts is better. But if Mahomes is going to scramble at this rate, give me that all day. Kyler Murray has also been stringing together some solid performances. Not much of a surprise. This guy is consistently a good floor quarterback. 18 points, 14 points, 33 rushing yards per game over the last 2 games. Falls short of last week. Last week he had 2 passing touchdowns, only 1 this week. I think Kyler Murray is a solid quarterback. Good matchup versus the 49ers. You almost have to start him if you took him. Justin Fields is probably too high in these rankings, but I don't know what choice we have. Justin Fields showed such a high ceiling in week 1, and he showed such a low floor in week 2. He's also concussed. Tough matchup versus the Bucs D-line. I'm honestly bumping Fields down these rankings, but probably less than you would expect. Baker Mayfield. Someone take me to the bakery. I haven't seen him play on Monday Night Football. I hope he beats. I gotta place a bet. We gotta go quick. I gotta place a bet on the Buccaneers to beat the Texans. You'll already know, was I a genius or not? Surely. But he did good in week 1. We'll see how he does in week 2. He had 3 touchdowns in week 1. We'll see the touchdown right here against a better defense of the Texans. They play dirty. So we'll see what happens to Baker in that game. I like him, right here. He might even be in B tier with Kyler. Bo Nix has a bounce back game, but you can't call him consistent. It's kind of like the inverse of Fields. Bad week 1, good week 2. Still not much on the ground for Bo Nix, which was supposed to elevate his floor. 20 rushing yards, I guess it's all right. I think this is a solid start to a top 9 of fantasy options. I haven't seen Herbert yet, but I'm pretty high on Herbert. I think Herbert is going to be just fine where he is as QB10. Dak Prescott, similar story. Prescott has a good matchup versus the Bears in 6-point passing touchdown formats. I do like Prescott a good bit. Jordan Love, Jared Goff. If you're in a 4-point passing touchdown format, definitely bump Drake May up to the top of D tier. And I think I am going to bump Drake May up there as well. Now, I'm kind of going off of 6-point passing touchdown format right here because that's the format I enjoy playing in more. But Drake May had a heck of a day, man, because of his rushing touchdown, 10 rushes, 31 yards. So I think Drake May is someone you potentially put in the lineup this week. Jordan Love. What worries me about Green Bay is, do they have to pass the football or not? Are they forced to? So far, they're not. Now, Jared Goff threw her 5 passing touchdowns. That's kind of just something that we've seen with Jared Goff, is he'll do that every once in a while. Good matchup versus the Ravens, meaning it's very difficult. They're going to have to pass the football, I believe. Jared Goff is probably somebody you put in your lineup as well this week. In fact, I think I'd rather have Jared Goff versus the Ravens, because if they want to actually win, which they might have a game like they did versus the Packers where they get destroyed by a good defense. The Ravens gave up 41 to Josh Allen. Obviously, Josh Allen and Jared Goff are miles apart in terms of mobile capabilities. I think Goff is someone you start this week with decent confidence level. Again, you're chasing the touchdown. I think Jameson Williams brings one in. So that is 5, 7, 9. That's the top 13. Realistically, if you're starting one of these guys, you're streaming quarterbacks almost on the week-to-week basis. I think Caleb Williams has to be a riser. He's been doing some decent stuff on the ground. I'm going to throw him in there ahead of the top of E tier. Penix is all right where he is. I think the rest of these rankings are pretty fair. Obviously we have Brock Purdy injured. So Brock Purdy probably not playing this week against, I think, the Arizona Cardinals. McCarthy also sidelined. Where would I put Jake Browning? Where would I put Wentz? I don't want the pictures. I would honestly put Carson Wentz. I think I have Geno above Aaron Rodgers. Haven't seen him play yet, but I think Stafford, honestly, is probably a better. Bryce Young is probably the best out of all these guys. He stinks. He stinks. I think I'd put Jake Browning probably ahead of Aaron Rodgers, and I'd probably put Carson Wentz right behind Jake Browning. Browning was streamable last year, and Wentz is good, but he's rusty, and are they going to let him throw the ball? So that is the QB rankings for week 3. Let's head on to tight end next. So when we're looking at tight end rankings for week 3, Brock Bowers and Trey McBride, they're going to stay where they are for me. No reason to bump them down. But we do have a riser. I'm putting Tyler Warren actually in S tier here. Now, why in the world would I do that? Because I think this guy is an S tier floor. I think we saw his floor actually in week 2. Only 4 catches, brings in 80 yards. And I think that Tyler Warren, with no touchdowns, this guy's averaging 13 points per game. Good matchup versus the Titans. Yeah, I'm starting Tyler Warren with a high degree of confidence, and I'm happy I probably invested a top 7 round draft pick in him. Sam Laporta is also going to stay where he is in A tier. I know it's a disappointing performance from Sam Laporta, especially considering Goff had 5 touchdowns and a high amount of passing yards. 9 targets week 1, 4 week 2. I think this is one of those things that it might be a volatile season for Laporta. I think he's going to rebound. I think Sam Laporta might be actually a buy low candidate. I have him firmly right here in A tier. The tight end position seems like it's going to be kind of streamable, meaning it's a bit volatile on your trust score unless you have one of the top 5, 6 options. Travis Kelce, that's what we're talking about. Look at the cliff. These top 3, I'm trusting them. Laporta, all right. Kelce drops the touchdown pass in week 2. Could have had a much better day. His points are not terrible. 13 and 10 from the tight end. It's not terrible. Again, if he brought in that touchdown, he would have had a 16-point day. So we have to keep him where he is. Xavier Worthy might be back, so we'll see if that impacts his underlying usage. Kyle Pitts. Is it Kyle Pitts' season? Who would have thought that he would actually maintain a decent role in this Falcons offense? I told you. I said, listen, I know people are going to say, oh, you're going back to the trap. You're putting your finger back in the mousetrap. Okay. 4 catches on 5 targets, 37 yards. It's an okay day. 13 points, 7.7 points. That might have been his floor. Hoping it's his floor. So we're going to have Pitts actually right here as the tight end number 6. Am I crazy? Maybe. Hawkinson did not have a very good game, I don't believe, against the Falcons. I feel like I didn't see this guy once at all on Sunday Night Football. Yeah, 1 catch, 12 yards. We'll smell you later, buddy. It's time to bump down the rankings in a big way. I'd rather have I'd rather have Juwan Johnson than. I think I'd rather. Kraft is so good, and the Jayden Reed injury has to make me say keep Kraft over Juwan Johnson. I think Juwan Johnson might actually be the better play for this week. You look at the usage here. Juwan Johnson had a heck of a game again. He had a touchdown. He had 9 targets. I think the targets alone might make Juwan better than Tucker Kraft. Tucker Kraft is insane. Tucker Kraft has always been insane. He's always been very good, but he only gets 5, 6, 7 targets a game. He's efficient with them. Back-to-back weeks with touchdown too. Smells like a sell high, but honestly, unless you're selling higher for one of these top guys, there's not much of a gap in my eyes. Hawkinson's got to go, and Njoku. I'd rather have Harold Fenton Jr. than David Njoku. So we're actually going to swap that, and it's going to be something very interesting, something to monitor. We're going to put Pitts. We're going to have Kelsey behind these guys too. We're going to have Juwan Johnson, who would have thought, Tucker Kraft, Travis Kelce, and then Kyle Pitts, and then it's a new tier. To be honest, it's a new tier. You tier down from Travis Kelce. Do you have Pitts up in this B tier? Probably not. Pitts, then Fannin Jr. You have Hawkinson. You're hoping for a rebound, but if he doesn't, you're probably cutting him. It's bad. It's not good from him. Ferguson had a big game. He had 12 targets when Dak Prescott threw for 1,000,000 yards. So I'm actually probably starting Ferguson over Fannin Jr. Ertz is also somebody decent. Watch out for the Jaden Daniels injury news, though. But Ertz is somebody I'm streaming with a solid degree of confidence, maybe even more so than Kyle Pitts. I think they're back-to-back. Mark Andrews, so bad, maybe even droppable. Colston Loveland, so bad. Brennan Strange, so bad. Goddard, is he hurt? I don't know, but realistically, 3, 4, 7, 10. Once you get to here, these are the last tight ends you're going to want to be starting. Ingram is not good, but it's better than anything. Isaiah Likely, not good. Watch out for Auden on what he did on Monday Night Football. We'll see. Kittle is hurt, so we shouldn't even have him here on the big board. Jonnu, Kincaid. Realistically, none of those guys are even worth ranking. If you have to stream a tight end, don't go further down than Isaiah Likely. Hopefully Isaiah Likely is back for a big matchup versus the Lions. Is he eased in? Potentially. So then maybe you would go with somebody like Freiermuth or somebody like Jonnu Smith over Isaiah Likely here. But I think this is a solid, and we have to have Njoku higher, actually. I know Njoku's not getting the role, but we're going to have Njoku still right there. So 3, 4, 7, 10, 13, 15. I think all 16 of these tight ends are startable, ending with Ingram. And if you have to reach even further down, this is how I would rank them. Those are the tight end week 3 rankings. We're going to head over to defense now. I feel like you guys always love seeing the defense special team rankings. Here they are. The Green Bay Packers defense is cream of the crop, and they take on the Cleveland Browns and Joe Flacco. I feel bad for Cleveland. The Packers are an S-tier defense this week and moving forward. The Seattle Seahawks also look really, really good against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Seahawks defense looked insane. They take on the New Orleans Saints. They're also an S-tier defense this week. In terms of A-tier, I have the Colts taking on the Titans. Colts defense has looked solid. Cam Ward is averaging 100 passing yards per game. I like it. The Bills taking on the Dolphins here. Thursday Night Football, short week. This might even be higher. I mean, Tua and the Dolphins look better in week 2, but still bad. The Steelers defense, it seems a bit of a high ranking. The reason I like the Steelers defense here is, yes, they've been giving up 1,000,000 points. They gave up 32 points week 1, 31 points week 2, so it's risky. But they've been forcing turnovers. Like, they had 2 sacks week 2. They had 2 interceptions in week 2. They've been making big plays, even though they haven't been playing great defense. They take on Drake May and the Patriots. Patriots look really bad week 1. Maybe that happens again. I think that the Steelers might actually be down here at the top of B tier. The Kansas City Chiefs defense looks solid, man. They actually held Philly to only, a modest 200-plus yard game. They take on the Giants. Giants offense looked insane versus the, Cowboys trash squad, the JV squad. Now the Chiefs defense is a step up, so I think the Chiefs are a good defensive play. The Atlanta Falcons take on the Carolina Panthers, and the Falcons defense, I'm actually going to bump them ahead of Pittsburgh after seeing what I did against the Minnesota Vikings. They had 6 sacks, they had a fumble, they had an interception. They're going to feast right here against Bryce Young. Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The reason I have the Buccaneers on this list, they take on the New York Jets, and Justin Fields is concussed. Justin Fields looked bad, so monitor that, but I think the Buccaneers defense is solid. The Washington Commanders, Washington takes on the Las Vegas Raiders. Haven't seen Monday Night Football yet, but I think that the Commanders are a good play against them. The Minnesota Vikings, they take on Jake Browning. Now, they do have Carson Wentz, and Carson Wentz might turn the ball over with some bad field position here. Vikings defense should be a good play. The Eagles take on the Rams. The Eagles defense is good, but the Rams offense is also good. I'm bumping down there in C tier. Now, you need 12 defenses, right? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Final defense is the 49ers. You probably play them here. They take on the Arizona Cardinals. I don't really see much better options. Like, there's the Cowboys and Bears. Maybe between the Cowboys and the Bears, one of those defenses play good. But the Bears just got 52 put on their head, and the Cowboys just got 40 put on their head. So these are the 12 defenses I'm considering in Week 3. And that's the video, man. Big video. We got all the rankings out for the week. Go make sure you check them out. Please help us support the channel with a subscribe and like. Peace out, boys.